Hello everybody, this is Pooka, and the final regional championship has been played. So winter championships are done, and our final winner for the Florida Regional Championship was Ryan Sabelhaus, who also won our 2013 Top Cut Invitational, second place finisher at last year's U.S. National Championships, and seems like he's winning a regional championship pretty much every year. Definitely one of the top players in the game right now. And go figure, we were covering the regional championship winning decks, and we just covered a Dragonite deck. And what do you know? A Dragonite deck is the winner of the final regional championship for the winter. So Ryan was nice enough to actually give me his list so we could go ahead and look through it here. And let's just take a look. This is going to be much different than the version I posted in the previous video, which featured Reuniclus and Victini EX and all sorts of other stuff. But let's just go right to it. We're going to start off, of course, with Dratini. We got 4 of these bad boys. These are our basic Pokemon we need. We have 1 Dragonair. I think there's 3 different Dragonair we can use. Since we don't run any grass or lightning, we'll get to that. This is the only Dragonair that can attack for colorless energy, so we're going to run this one as Tail Whap 20. All the Dragonair have 70 HP, I believe. You may want to go with the other one that has 1 retreat, since it's probably more likely that you'll retreat instead of attack for 20. But for the most part, this Dragonair won't be too important, but it's nice to have a stage 1 in here. Then we have 3 Dragonite. So Dragonite, of course, has Deafen, does 60, and your opponent can't play any item cards. So this is what the whole deck revolves around. Deafen, you take away your opponent's item cards, and that's very devastating for most decks. Any deck you can really think of relies on item cards. You know, think about Blastoise decks. They rely on rare candy to get Blastoise in play. They rely on superior energy retrieval to get energy back. Darkrai decks revolve around Dark Patch and other things like Hypnotoxic Laser. And just about every deck gets crippled when they don't have item cards. So that's the entire strategy. Take away those with Deafen. Now, of course, we're going to combine this with Garbodor. This was in the previous deck breakdown I did. This is your main partner for Dragonite. You have Garbotoxin. Once you put a tool on Garbodor, your opponent cannot use abilities. So, this is especially nice to partner with Dragonite, since the main way to counter Garbodor is to play a Tool Scrapper and discard the tool attached to Garbodor. That way Garbotoxin is not in effect. It only works when a Pokemon tool is attached. So you would play Tool Scrapper to get rid of the tool, and then you get your abilities back. But when you use Deafen, your opponent can't play the item Tool Scrapper, so Garbodor just always has Garbotoxin if your opponent can't play item cards. So this is kind of a natural pair of cards here that work together very well. Dragonite doesn't even have an ability in the first place, so pretty good partnership, I would say. This helps you shut down a lot of popular decks. Then for the other cards, we have, this is the big difference in this list, Victini EX. So we have Turbo Energize, the first attack. For 1 fire energy, search your deck for 2 energy cards. 2 basic energy cards, and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. So one of the things that's bad about Dragonite is it can be very slow, its attack cost is kind of high, and Victini EX can help you with energy acceleration with Turbo Energize. It also has this nice attack, Intensifying Burn. It does 50 plus 50 against a Pokemon EX, and it's a fire type. So it just happens to knock out popular Pokemon like Genesect EX and Victini EX. Probably 2 of the most popular EXs in the format. So this helps you out a lot against those Victini Genesect decks, which are pretty popular. And Victini EX can actually give Dragonite some trouble sometimes, so this is a nice card to have. And since we're playing Victini EX, we also play Victory Piece, the A-Spec card that allows Victini EX to attack for free. Pretty cool. And yeah, this actually gives an added attacker to the deck as well. Sometimes Dragonite can't do it on its own. You need something else to close out the game, and Victini EX does a pretty darn good job. We also have a Tech Mewtwo EX, since one of the biggest ways other decks can beat Dragonite is to just charge up a big Mewtwo and X-Ball for a one-hit knockout on Dragonite. That's what this deck really struggles with, one-hit knockouts. And if Dragonite keeps going down every turn, you can't really keep up the Deafen Lock too long. And so for those big Mewtwo's, we want a response. And what beats Mewtwo? Well, Mewtwo. So we're playing double colorless energy. So if our opponent powers up a big Mewtwo EX, we can just respond with our own, knock it out, and then get back to the deafening after that Mewtwo is out of the way. And then we have a Jirachi EX, which just has the nice ability Stellar Guidance. Pretty much whenever you have a Level Ball or an Ultra Ball, you can turn that into a supporter early on in the game, which is really, really nice. So that's our Pokemon line. The trainers, the supporters are pretty simple. 4N for Professor Juniper, 4 Skyla. That's it. Nothing too crazy. And then 2 Tropical Beach as well. Since this is a Stage 2 deck, and since you can't attack if you go first, this is a nice card to help you really set up throughout the game. For the Pokemon tools, these are big ones. We do need Pokemon tools for Garbotoxin, but we can also run ones that help us out in specific matchups. We mentioned the Victory piece already. Now we also have Silver Mirror. This is by far the most important Pokemon tool in the deck. It prevents all effects of attacks, including damage, done from Team Plasma Pokemon to the Pokemon that has Silver Mirror attached. So a pretty simple strategy here. Put a Silver Mirror onto a Dragonite, use Deafen. They can't use Tool Scrapper, so any Team Plasma Pokemon is worthless against Dragonite. Pretty simple. That's probably the most important tool in the deck. Silver Bangle, another good one. This allows Deafen to do 90 damage against Pokemon EX, knocking them out in 2 hits. Now against things like Rayquaza EX and Black Kyurem EX, 2 very popular Dragon Pokemon, this allows you to Deafen for a 1-hit knockout, which is huge. So Silver Bangle allows you to do extra damage with Deafen, which you really need sometimes. And then Float Stone. This gives your Garbodor free retreat. This is just a nice tool in general to give your Pokemon a free retreat cost in all sorts of sticky situations. For the rest of the trainer cards, we have a lot of, balls. We have Ultra Ball. 3 of these, discard 2, search for any Pokemon. 3 Level Ball. This might seem like a lot, but it does allow us to search for a lot of Pokemon, like Dratini, Dragonair, Trubbish, and Jirachi, and we really need a lot of Dratini out early on because they only have 50 HP and they can be knocked out very quickly. So you usually want to get multiple Dratini into play, and you need Trubbish out pretty quickly too, to start locking down those abilities with Garbodor. So we have 3 Level Ball, 3 Ultra Ball, and then 1 Heavy Ball is pretty nice as well, since Dragonite has a 3 retreat cost, and so does Garbodor. So you can search for either or with that, and you can always search for the Heavy Ball with Skyla. We have some other interesting cards. Rare Candy is pretty simple. This allows you to skip from Dratini to Dragonite. You'll find this in every single Stage 2 deck there is, since skipping from a Basic to a Stage 2 is pretty darn good. This card's been around for like 10 years now. It's not left modified once since it's been printed. That's because it's just such a cool card. It allows Stage 2 Pokemon to keep up with those fast, basic Pokemon. And then the other interesting cards, we have Super Rod. That's pretty much a staple in a lot of decks. But Town Map. We don't see this card too often, but Ryan decided to play this in the deck because there are so many specific cards you want to take out of your prizes sometimes. Sometimes you just see, my other Silver Mirror is prized, and I had to get rid of one early, so we can take that out of our prizes. Or we see a double colorless energy in the discard pile. We really need one to attack next turn, and you take a prize. Alright, now Town Map tells us exactly where that is. Or say you're going to have to play your hand out completely, and you want to have a supporter for next turn, but hey, you see there's a Professor Juniper in your prizes. Now Town Map gives you a supporter for next turn. So Town Map is a pretty underrated card that fits in this deck pretty well. But that's going to pretty much wrap up this deck. It's a very powerful deck, one that just kind of came on at the end of regional championships. Of course, we did see Dylan Bryan use it to some pretty good success at the Virginia Regional Championship, but this is your winning deck for the Florida Regional Championship by Ryan Sabelhaus. Just Dragonite, Garbodor. I don't think many people would have expected this deck to be a big tournament winner, but Pokemon is pretty wide open sometimes. You never know what's going to happen and what crazy deck is going to pop up and just win a big tournament out of nowhere. So this is an interesting deck for sure. I'm not sure how it's going to survive as X and Y comes out, but it was definitely a good surprise deck for this final regional championship. And congratulations to Ryan and all the other regional winners and everybody else who did well during regional championships. State championships are up next, and of course X and Y is coming out, so we're going to have exciting times ahead. But until then, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will definitely have some more for you soon. This is Pooka from the Top Cut, and I'll see you guys next time.